So, habari yako? Salama, mjambo? So this is just only one part, or you've got two parts?
No, this is one part.
So
this one part number one, and then number two, which is there.
So number two is also dedicated, yeah?
One and two are
One and two dedicated.
This is one and two.
One and two. So one and two is for this?
Yes.
So basically what so Princess wanted to do it. It's not about the master. They want to show that
focuses on the concept of the single customs territory, whereby we now have Kenya Revenue Authority working side by side with the Uganda Revenue Authority. On the Kenya Revenue Authority side, we simply process the manifests, and it seamlessly goes into the Asikuda system for the Uganda Revenue Authority to do the declaration, payment of taxes, and execution of regional security bond for goods that are not payment are not upfront. Therefore, we have the KPA carrier release at the port, and thereafter the movement of the cargo from Mombasa to Kampala through the regional electronic cargo tracking system, which is monitored at Mombasa, Nairobi, and Kampala through the centralized control centers. I'll then hand over to URA representative, Mr. Julius, to give us the benefits of the system.
I have a team of 50 Ugandan officers who have been serving here for the last 4 years, and I'm happy, His Excellencies, to share the benefits of our being here to work closely with KRA and the rest of the team. The single customs territory, His Excellencies, has enabled us between KRA and URA to integrate why was it important for us to integrate the revenue authorities? Your Excellencies, just before this initiative started, our importers had to make 6 declarations between here and Kampala. And that would not only increase the cost of doing business, but also the clearance time. So I'm happy to note, Your Excellencies, that something that used to take, as you'll sit down in my presentation, is now done in a matter of seconds. As we are seated here, Your Excellencies, when a declaration is made in Kampala and passed on the system, I and my team here, we view it, and in less than 30 minutes, cargo starts the journey, Your Excellencies. The second point is enhancing cargo security through the regional electronic cargo tracking. Your Excellencies, this is a very huge relief, yes, for the government, but largely for the private sector. We used to have issues of escorts, where police would escort cargo from here to Malaba, and if you miss an escort, say, on Friday evening, maybe you're likely to get an escort on Monday. Now, I'm pleased to report, Your Excellencies, that this is history. I mean, the physical escort, we are using electronic cargo tracking, and we have monitoring centers, both in Kampala and Nairobi, that our teams, as the truck sets off the journey, our officers in those centers are viewing. Along the roads, we have rapid response units that in case of anything, security or people who would want to dodge taxes and divert along the transit route, response units are alerted, and we've had a success story of real-time intervention. Previously, because of these many processes, our consignments used to take 21 days. This is a study that was done by World Bank, and now I'm happy to confirm that some transactions are taking as short as 2 days. Yes, from 21. What does that mean to us as governments? Efficient revenue collection. We are not going to wait for 3 weeks to get our money. No, it's coming in real time. But also importantly, for private sector, I was talking to some of our investors in Uganda. They are now doing real time, I mean just in time. You don't have to bring 50 containers. Because of these efficiencies, you just bring in 5, consume them,
talking of
and others will come.
20% on rail, as opposed to 2% last year. This is to have other projects that we are doing at the port of Mombasa. One is the Lamu Port project, which is a part of the LAPSET corridor, Lamu Port, South Sudan Transport Corridor. We are now at 60% completion rate, and we want to open this 1st of August next year. We're also developing a new oil terminal across the channel. We shall show you this, which shall berth four ships at the same time, each with a capacity of 100,000 deadweight tons. This new oil terminal will also have a gas manifold, a common user gas manifold. Second container terminal development. Phase 1 is already complete, and it gave us an additional capacity of 550,000 TEUs. Phase 2 is now ongoing, which shall add 20-foot equivalent units, which is a measure in 20-foot containers. So this phase is now currently ongoing, and we've started the dredging works and backfilling. After that, we shall go to phase 3. These are all funded by Japan International Cooperation Agency. Show you across the channel, where we want to develop part of our 3,000 acres as Kenya Ports Authority, and we are in discussion with the Japanese, who have agreed to fund the first berth and an access road of 4.6 kilometers and a power line. We also have small ports. We have a Shimoni port, 32 nautical miles upstream, which we want to develop into a fishing port. But we also have other small ports like Takaungu and Kilifi. But key among them is the Kisumu port. We're in discussion with a private developer to develop Kisumu port. We have already started dredging works and water hyacinth cleaning up. We want to dredge this to 5 meters below sea level, so that we can have a ferry between Kisumu and our friends in Uganda. Sir, we have also developed an inland container depot, the ICD, Inland Container Depot in Nairobi, which was increased from 180,000 TEUs to 450,000 TEUs. And this is targeted to increasing evacuation by the standard gauge railway. Besides that, we have now embarked on exploitation of the blue economy. And in this, we are putting up a modern ship repair dockyard here at the port of Mombasa. and actually acting as a catalyst for private sector to invest in blue economy activities. We'll take over from this.
Excellency, one of the key development issues is connection between the rail.
Before we leave the port,
Yes, Excellency.
the oil quantities
Yes.
are part of the 30 million.
Yes, we are doing 8 million tons of oil, part of the 30 million.
Part of the 31 million only.
Yes, yes.
Rail and the port, and to see the interdependence of the two investments. I'll ask the head of operations of Kenya Railways to take us through.
Thank you, Your Excellencies. After the cargo is discharged from the port, there is the connection of the standard gauge railway. This is the phase one up to Nairobi, which is 472 kilometers, which is now operational. Beyond that, we are now completing phase 2A from Nairobi to Naivasha, which we intend also to connect it with the meter gauge between Naivasha and Longonot Station, about 35 kilometers. The 2B, which will connect Naivasha to Kisumu, is the 263 kilometers.
Excellency, one of the key issues is from Mombasa to Nairobi is taking 8 hours in terms of SGR. From Nairobi to Naivasha, the plan is to take 2 hours. And then after we interchange to the MGR, the plan is to take about 8 hours to Malaba. So in total, about 18 hours on the track. If you take into account the changeover and those logistics, about 24 hours, give or take maximum 2 days, like Excellency said yesterday.
Thank you, Excellencies. We have moved since the commercialization of SGR on 1st January last year, 3.5 million tons of cargo. And this is attributed to the port relief lines, which have been opened. And we have the port relief line, which is in this side of the port. We have a seamless operation of cargo between Mombasa and ICD, where the train will be loaded, departs at 06 hours, arriving at 14:30 hours. This is 2 p.m. in the afternoon. This is only 8 hours. The placement, loading, and transfer will take a maximum of 6 hours for the 108 TEUs. Then the exports, again, are loaded to be able to depart at 8:30 p.m., arriving again the port at 4 in the morning for the second loading.